Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Babylon 5. This is season 5. This is episode number 19. This episode is called The Wheel of Fire. Last episode, Londo was finally made emperor. We had the death of the regent and Londo received his keeper. It was interesting to see how isolated he had become during the season more than anything really, because he was slowly drifting away from everybody. And that hug from Delenn, I think for me, signaled that kind of like the time was coming where things were going to get a little bit hairy for everybody because we knew what was happening with the ships. Londo at that point didn't. So to see him on his own in that throne room was really interesting. He'd sent G'Kar away. He'd sent Via away to be the new ambassador for Babylon 5. And then obviously John and Delenn had also gone with those guys back to the station. And, you know, to see him on his own in that chair just made me think of in the beginning when we saw him initially before he said he'd tell that story to the children. And for me, it was just heartbreaking to see that that's kind of how things are for him now. We know that the Drac are there with him and they are basically pulling the strings alongside the keeper, and Londo can't really do anything about it now because he's basically in a position where he's helpless, and the only people he can rely on are these shadow allies that sought him out because of how everything ended with the bombing of the island and Mr. Morden's death. So they kind of got their revenge by subjugating the Centauri people. And we saw how, you know, even in the future, the city's still basically in ruins, so it didn't really work out that great, did it? We've now got Delenn back, and we saw how her and Linnea had drifted in hyperspace after the white star they were on was damaged from Centauri ships. And Linnea made his declaration, and Delenn's reaction to that was really interesting. For her to then be like, I know, to then her being like, I didn't actually hear anything, let's pretend kind of that never happened. And I was like, maybe that's not the best way to go about this, because it's out there now. Like, he vocalized it. I don't think he can pretend that he didn't do that. I don't think it's in him to do something like that. So I'm really interested to see how this moves going forward, because we are now basically against the Centauri people, the Drac. We know the keeper's there. It's going to be absolutely mad. So let's get on into this. Let's go.
How's Londo?
I don't know. At least now things will settle down here for a while.
We hope they do.
I should mention that there are a few of your people waiting to see you in customs.
Oh my god, the statues. They have statues.
I better get going. I have a meeting with the president, Mr. Garibaldi.
Captain.
Michael, what's up?
What's up, what?
Lockley said there was a meeting.
The meeting is about to start.
Oh, the meeting's at 4 o'clock.
The meeting is at 2, Michael. Now, you better get down here fast.
Shit.
Sorry there.
Got the time wrong.
There was a mix-up about the time.
It's all right. Since you're already up, why don't you start?
Well, there's no secret that the Eldrazi didn't mind the bombing of Centauri Prime. Since the Centauri are the main competitors for trade and...
Mr. Garibaldi.
Sir?
You're drunk. Delenn, I need to see you out in the hall for a moment. The rest of you are dismissed. We will reconvene later.
Did they all already kind of know anyway? Because they were acting like they kind of knew.
Michael.
Did Zach tell them?
Stay.
How long's he been waiting in here for? She's trying to calm him down. Oh, he's so pissed.
Please sit.
I think she calmed him down.
Stand.
Suit yourself.
What's this going to mean for his job?
When did you start drinking again, Michael?
You knew?
I think everybody in the room
I
did.
suspected. I tried to convince myself that I was reading too much into the meetings where you were late or unprepared.
Oh.
You've been under a great deal of pressure lately. What we went through at the end of the Civil War and then coming right back here without even a break in between.
But John, you got every reason to be angry with me.
I'm not angry with you.
Disappointed?
I was, but Delenn has a way of looking at things that...
She does that.
No, I'm not angry with you. But I am very disappointed, Michael.
G'Kar, it's Dr. Franklin. I need to speak with you for a moment, please.
Enter.
What's he doing with that?
Quite a line you got out there, G'Kar. Thought I had a big waiting room.
I've stopped trying to count them, and more come by the hour, by the minute.
Oh.
I got a call from your government. They've been trying to get a hold of you ever since you got back, but you're not taking any calls. They want me to tell you that your homeworld is up in arms, Jakar. Half of them want you to come home, take charge of the whole place.
I've told them no before. My decision stands.
That's when they wanted him in charge of the Kari, right?
Thank you.
What do the other half want?
Well, they want you to come back long enough to give them your blessing and let them run Narn on your behalf.
This is insane.
Yeah, well, that's as good a word as any.
I spoke with the captain. She says that more ships are arriving from Narn every hour.
With more
Bringing
people?
more pilgrims who want to learn from me. If I stay here, we'll be flooded with my people.
Oh.
If I go home, they'll make me into
Oh, God.
this.
Captain, good.
Hi.
I was just telling Mr. Allen that we've got a serious problem on our hands.
Which is?
During the last month, there have been a dozen more attacks on Psycor property. Bombings, sabotage, you name it.
Oh.
Now, we believe those responsible are amateurs, but they're making up for it with resources. High-tech weapons, munitions, comm systems, they've got it all. Well, ma'am, you have my sympathy, but I really don't see what you expect us to do about it. This is an internal matter that runs right through your office, Captain. Point 1. At the site of every bombing, we found the words, "Remember Byron," painted on the walls. Lita, we need to talk to you.
We'd like you to come with us.
Am I under arrest, Zach?
Yeah.
We just need you to answer some questions.
What if I don't want to go?
I don't think you have a lot of choice.
I don't think
Are
she
you
does
sure
either.
about that, Captain?
Lita.
I'm tired of being pushed around, Captain.
What the actual hell has she been up to, man?
I do not choose to be arrested.
They're going to have to arrest everybody.
You cannot stop someone who's been touched by Vorlons.
You're not the only one that's been touched by the Vorlons.
John, you absolute
Let them
legend.
go. Let them go or I'll blow the back of your skull off.
Jesus. Oh my God. I can't believe she did that. I can't believe John did that, actually.
You can't be everywhere, Mr. President.
Good point. Oh! Get her out of here and put her in level 1 lockup. I hate myself for saying
What
this.
the
but
hell are we going to
Maybe
do?
you should have pulled the trigger while you could.
Jesus.
Just heard the news. Is that her?
Yeah. We put her in the brig furthest away from any human contact and put the system on auto maintenance.
Oh.
Now, that should make it harder for her
To influence
anyone to let her
anything.
out. I just don't understand it, Stephen. What could make her turn like this?
Well, let's say she was adjusted by the Vorlons, dumped by the Vorlons, used as a weapon,
And track like
put
shit.
to core, lost the only man she ever loved, and dedicated herself to finishing his work.
No, there's something more going on here. Something that pushed her over the edge.
She felt like she wasn't
First Londo, then Garibaldi, and now this.
treated the same way as everybody else was.
Next person who acts irrationally, I swear I'm going to shoot myself in the head.
Bastards!
Sorry?
Did she just...
She did.
I'll get the gun.
Delenn, are you...
Bastards!
Yeah, we got that part.
The non-government says they're going to boycott all our ships until Jakar comes home.
What if he doesn't want to go
Troy
home?
said he doesn't want to go home.
They say he's staying here out of a sense of obligation. And I don't think I can...
She can... What the hell?
Franklin to MedLab 1. We need a trauma team. Sheridan's off the stat.
How is she?
She's stable for now. Only time will tell if her system can adjust to handle the stress she's putting on. That's why she
Collapsed?
shut down like that. Look, you have to understand, she's a Minbari human hybrid. Things aren't going to work the same.
Oh.
What are you talking about?
Gio?
What is wrong with her?
She's pregnant.
I think I can help you, Lita. I can help you, and you can help me.
How?
Now, if you're interested, I'll try and get us transferred to another cell where we can talk privately without having that camera watch over us the whole time.
Oh.
What camera?
Why
Right.
didn't she just do that from the get-go?
Okay, we know that you've been funneling money to the underground back home and in turn hitting the Psycor. You're doing it because you don't like what they've done to you and the other telepaths. Well, we've got something in common. Because I don't like what they've done to me.
Yeah.
They messed with my mind, and Bester planted a neural block in my head that keeps me from nailing that sucker's head to the wall. If you give me the freedom to get back at him, then maybe maybe I might have a chance to get a little control over my life again.
Can she even do that?
I can have a very influential...
Well, considering what she did with those people in the Zocalo, she probably could, actually.
But I'd have to leave Babylon 5 and not come back.
That would have to be the deal.
Lita and I are in the same position. Neither of us can go home, and neither of us can stay here any longer.
Then where do you go?
Out there. Visiting Centauri Prime helped me understand the Centauri. And out of that came a new peace between our people. I also realized that there is so much I have never seen. How much more could I understand? How much more could I help my people if I saw even more of the universe around us? I could destroy this by betraying my principles. But I can't do that. So I have decided to go away. I will return when I've found a way to destroy this.
What about Lita?
I could use a traveling companion. I have learned a great deal about healing wounds and curing anger.
And he thinks he can help her?
Perhaps in my way I can help her deal with her own anger, as I dealt with mine. As soon as I put my affairs in order, I am leaving Babylon 5. And it is entirely possible that I may never return.
I haven't heard a word from Londo since we came back.
Oh, I don't think you will.
I find I miss him.
He's probably just busy. He's got a lot of responsibilities now. Hell, he's probably still celebrating his coronation. Partying all night.
He was just sat in that room.
So, I hope he's all right, John.
This was not what I expected. The Wheel of Fire, I have to admit, initially made me think of the episode with Naroon and the Starfire Wheel, and I thought maybe something along those lines might have been in store in this episode, but obviously it wasn't, and it was completely different. Everybody kind of, having their suspicions about Michael and his drinking. We know already that Zach did when he visited him, and then him turning up to a meeting late again and still drunk, and John kind of, needing a word with him, and having that chat with him was really interesting. Lockley's chat with him was interesting as well, because I thought she was going to call upon her friend that visited her during Day of the Dead about the death and her friend's addiction and how she kind of got herself together after everything that had happened. But to know that it was actually her dad that was an alcoholic, and then to learn that she herself became an alcoholic, I never expected that at all. And I think that might have been like my favourite Lockley scene that we've had so far, actually. That was like probably the most emotional that she's been. And there's been a few episodes where her character's really surprised me with like the depth of it, because other times like she's just very by the book and she doesn't seem to have like these feelings, but then every now and then we just get thrown a curveball like this episode where we learn a lot more about her. And it's a shame actually that we didn't kind of learn more about her over more than one season, because I think if we did get that, then it probably would have like been a lot easier for me to kind of connect more to her, because I had more time with everybody else. So for me, that's like been a little bit of a shame on that front, because I still don't feel that connected to her, unfortunately. Whereas everybody else, I just absolutely burst out crying whenever they say they're going to do something. We know that Steven's going to Earth Dome. Learning that Lise wants Michael to go back to Mars with her and him agreeing to is now meaning that Michael's leaving. Jakar is now also wanting to leave because he doesn't want to be at the point where he's being idolised as a god by his people, and he doesn't want to go back home, and he can't stay on the station because pilgrims keep coming here to see him. So he's decided he wants to go. And then Lita, the whole Remember Byron thing coming back is really interesting way of kind of broaching the topic of Lita also at some stage moving on, and Jakar willing to let her go with him as a travel companion to go and explore the stars. And I hope he writes a book. That'd be really cool to like the adventures that he's been on and things. But then, Lita, that scene in the Zocalo where she was influenced in what people were doing, and we saw how still Zach was, and she was saying how like, you can't stop me because I've been touched by a Vorlon. And then in comes John and he's like, yeah, you're not the only one. And I never expected Lockley to hit her. Seeing how much Lita's powers have developed really surprised and shocked me, because we saw, like, especially at the end with her eyes, like we saw that in Third Space, and that was because of the technology that was coming through from Third Space. And it was kind of Vorlon-like, that gate, wasn't it? So it was really interesting to see that, over time she's getting stronger and stronger. We know she's possibly got Talia's telekinesis as well. We now know that she can control people because we saw that. She's dangerous, and she even referred to herself as a weapon. And I think I said at some point during this, she is like the ultimate weapon. And to know that, you know, like the Vorlons created her, there could be another one. There could be another Lita out there. I think maybe that was their plan with Talia, because you remember with the vicar and the crystal, like maybe that was what Kosh wanted to do with Talia, but then the whole control thing happened and the plan kind of went away. So when Lita came back, it was kind of like, well, you know, we've got Lita here as well. She touched me when I first came to the station. She knows what I look like. All that kind of thing kind of came into motion. So to see that was just absolute madness. But to know there's going to be at least 4 people just leaving. And then obviously, like as Michael was saying, John and Delenn, once the new offices on Minbar are built, which we learned about at the start of the season, like, they'll obviously be leaving as well. I'm just like, Jesus Christ, there's going to be Zach and Via. What the hell? Linnea seems to have just disappeared again, and I'm just like, it's so strange, like everybody just upping and leaving. And then John finding out that Delenn is pregnant was like, oh my God. And then obviously that fits in with everything that happened in the Selling War Without End when Delenn was talking about their son being safe. And I'm like, Jesus, like everything that we saw from those flash forwards is definitely coming to pass. And I think that was like the one last thing that hadn't been confirmed yet. Absolute madness. But I'm slightly worried about this plan that Lita and Michael have got about destroying Psycho. And I'm assuming this may be what actually triggers that telepath war. Not what happened to Byron, but the way Lita and Michael start ciphering money through these accounts, especially because they've got a secret one. I may go watch the next one and I will see you guys later. So thank you.